Hi everyone, it's Danny. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm back with another design team layout for Confessions of a Paper Addict cut files on Etsy, and I'm going to be using the dump truck cut file to scrap a picture of my son. So I've just popped into Silhouette Studio to show you how I altered the cut file to fit my photo. So first thing I've done here is I have drawn out a rectangle about the size of what I want my photo to be, to give me a guide. And now I'm bringing in the cut file. This is the PNG image and I'm going to trace it. Go, just trace. Now my version of Silhouette Studio is very, very old, mainly because I don't want to learn how to use the new version, so I just don't update it, but it's all the same features, so you can get the idea. So I have just pulled in the cut file here. I have blown it up to quite large. It's going to have to be large enough to fit my photo. So what I want to do is have my photo set so it's like a big window in the truck here, and you'll see why when you see the photo. So first I'm going to release compound path. So I'm going to right click and go to release compound path. You can't see what I'm doing because the program I use to record doesn't show you the drop down menus when I right click. I apologize, but just take my word for it. So I'm just taking out those two windows that I don't want, and now I'm going to take this larger window, and that's going to be where my photo goes. So I've just pulled that over to the side here so you can see what I'm doing, but still using my photo guide rectangle, I'm going to resize the window, and I'm just clicking and dragging the little boxes on the corners of the shape. There we go. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect, just roughly that size. So what I did there was, again, I ungrouped and I deleted the outside of that rectangle because when I resized it, it was a little bit too thick. So now I'm just using the offset tool to offset that inner rectangle. And I'm just playing around with the size here to make sure it's about the same thickness as the rest of the cut file. So there we go. That's about right. This is a little too big. I'm just double checking my photo size here. Get rid of that. I don't need that anymore. I'll bring this in and I will just adjust this a little bit until it fits in there. Okay, perfect. So once I've got that set, I will highlight everything again, right click again and make a compound path. I do also cut off the edge there with my knife tool, but you guys don't need to see that. Okay, here I am with my cut file because with a Sharpie and a grey cut file, I wanted it in black, but my son has been playing with my Cameo apparently, and he adjusted the rollers and it chewed my last bit of cardstock. So this is my kind of like last resort, but it turns out fine. It's just fine in the end. He wouldn't even know it wasn't black cardstock. It took me a while, but I just popped some YouTube on and yeah, coloured in my cut file, and now I have a black cut file. I could have used paint, but Sharpie dries quicker, so. All right, now I'm taking that window and I'm just going to glue that straight on top of my photo. So this is a photo I took of my son. I say driving, he wasn't actually driving it, it wasn't going, but there was a machinery day. They had a lot of like construction equipment down on the Gold Coast. I think they do it every year, but this year we took him and he got to sit up in this backhoe and pretend to drive it. So I got this great photo of him pulling faces while he was driving the truck. And yeah, so when I put this whole layout together, it looks like he's sitting inside the dump truck and driving it. So I thought that was pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and back my cut file here. This paper is from Cocoa Vanilla Studio collection. I can't remember. Don't think it's Boys Rule. It might be You Rock. But the opposite side is a like yellow spot. You Rock, yeah, it is. I can see the branding strip there. So I've just traced the inside of that piece, and now I am going ahead with my scissors and cutting that slightly larger than the piece I've traced out. And then I will put a bit of wet glue around the outside of my cut file there, and that little piece will, well, that large piece will slot in just perfectly in that space. So the glue I use is just a tacky glue. It's a cheapish one from Officeworks. It's the Officeworks brand. There we go. and that will all sit in there just perfectly. I've just kept this inside bit so I can reposition this little grating. And then for the rest of the cut file, I'm going to go ahead and back that off camera. So we'll skip to in a second. There we go, all done. And I've decided I'm going to use this background paper. It's from Boys Rule, I think. Yes, it is. It's kind of like, it reminded me of concrete. It's got that kind of concrete texture to it. So I like that. I thought that was appropriate for this layout. Now I'm going to make a bit of muddy ground, I guess. I'm just taking some brown cardstock and I'm going to tear it into several strips and kind of lay them up on top, one on top of the other. Oh, I can't speak tonight, sorry. It is quite late. I've had a big day. I'm ready for bed. So I'm just tearing off a few strips of this. It's just a plain textured cardstock. I do put it texture side up so it looks a little bit more like dirt. I'm putting my glue about a centimetre from the torn edge because I do want to curl that edge and distress it a little bit. Making my muddy hills. I really love this layout. It's a very literal layout. I know some people don't like those, but it's so cool. I think it's so cool for a little boy. So like I said, I'm distressing the edges. So I'm just using my fingers to like bend them over, curl them up, distress them a bit with my fingernails. Just give them lots of texture. Beautiful. Now, lots of splatters. I do go a little splatter crazy on this layout. I'm going to use my black Kaiser mist. It dries more a dark charcoal, and it's got a bit of shimmer to it. So I'm just going to put that all over the place. By the time I put that cut file back on the page, there's not going to be a lot visible. So I just want to make sure I get plenty on there so you do see something in the end. Now this is my white Liquitex acrylic ink. Got to put some white splatters on here. It doesn't show up super great on that grey, but you can definitely see it on the ground. So I am loving the splatters on the ground there because it's just the flat brown. So definitely gives it a bit more of a earth texture. This is it's a couple of different shades of brown acrylic paint, just like it's meant to be mud, I guess. I've added some water and I'm doing lots of splatters and some really big, deliberate splodges there. I've been trying not to use so much craft foam lately, but this one I couldn't. How could I not? It's calling out for it. So I'm just going to back the whole truck with some single-sided adhesive craft foam. I get this from Spotlight. And yep, there we go, skip 2. I've just added some double-sided tape and some wet glue, a combination of both, all over the back of that cut file, on the back of the foam, and just pop that down. And now I'm going to go ahead and embellish. This layout obviously doesn't need much. I actually did toy with the idea of not embellishing it, but I do find a few little ones that I quite like. So I'm going to use the Boys Rule Collection ephemera from Cocoa Vanilla Studio. And I love that King of Everything title. I just thought it was perfect for, he's sitting up in the driver's seat and he was the king of the world this day. So I'm going to do 3 clusters. I'm going to do one down here beside the wheel, one near the title, and then one sort of in the top of the dump truck. Dumper. Okay, this label is one that I made a spelling error on in a recent video. So I'm just going to use the top of it here to write, I think it's just driving the backhoe or something, and then the date. And I'll just snip off the bottom and layer another piece of ephemera over the top. Okay, so that will tuck in near my title in a minute. I find this high voltage and it fit perfectly in that little box like it was made to go there. So of course I had to put it there. It was perfect. That little skinny frame is kind of like the negative space that comes from when the frame die cuts nest in together, but I've kept it, so I quite like it. And up there, these won't all stay like this. I think I take most of the stars off. I do like that skull because it's going in next to the skull and crossbones. It's going in next to the high voltage sign, so I kind of thought it fit. I'm just going to trim off the white border because it's quite thick and I think it was just distracting a little bit too much. So I'll tuck that label in just behind the high voltage sign, and then that skull and crossbones will sort of cover that gap there perfectly. I have these little round cork embellishments that my Nana gave me. I think they're pretty cool. I haven't used them yet, so I'm going to pull out some of the, just 2, weirdly enough. Yeah, I pull out the cross and the little yay. I'm going to pop in this little skull and crossbones banner sticker. I just wanted it bumped down a little bit, so I need to fill in that gap. I'm going to bring in this tiny word sticker. I try to use all those really masculine phrases on this page. So I think there's one that says, so just grab the layout. They say built tough, and then the one that I put above says hard as nails. And then I do put another one right up the top that says out of control. So yeah, I mean, I don't really use phrases like that to describe my child, like hard as nails and sort of like that, because I just think it's a little bit, I don't know. But I thought it was appropriate for this because I'm more referring to the truck than I am to him. So there we go. I've glued everything down pretty much now. I'm just coming in with some enamel dots. I'm going to use these bright yellow ones off it's a Reject Shop set. And then I've got an Echo Park set that has some, it's a dark navy and a brown that I use. So 3 groups of 3 around each of my ephemera, well, 1 group of 3 around each of my ephemera clusters. And that will be my layout finished. Don't forget to go check out the Confessions of a Paper Addict shop. The link is in the description box. And I'll see you next time. Close-ups are coming up. Bye, guys.